What's up, everybody? Okay, I don't want anyone to be scared. Please do not run away. I understand that during the live drop, this is going to be very, very disorienting, but I promise you it was better than the alternative of Holger trying to come in and co-host this episode 126 of CRTV, possibly from the laboratory in his flight to Singapore on the plane using Wi-Fi. We don't need that mid-air drama. So instead, what did we do? We swapped out for our other hosting pair, Larry Dignan. Larry, what's happening? Hi.
Hey, I'm filling in for Holger.
Filling in for Holger. Now Larry and Martin, as we all know, they host the other episodes, the odd episodes, or the even. You guys are the odds now. I think we were the odds we are odd. So we are
odds. Yes.
Yeah, but they are
Martin's
the
really
far
odd,
more.
but,
yeah, they're the far more professional end of the CRTV bandwagon. Holger and I are just holding on for dear life and praying that there was some kind of news. So let's get to it. Larry Dignan, let's talk enterprise technology news.
All right, so the cybersecurity market's getting way bigger.
Oh God, it doesn't need to get bigger. It's already
ridiculous. But now it's really going to get ridiculous because everyone's realizing all at once that security is a data problem, which means everybody and your mom is going to be getting into cybersecurity. Databricks is now a security company. They launched their. Have you looked at the acronyms in?
I can't
security?
Because we already have things like SASE and we already have.
It's crazy. It's insane.
There used to be really bad names in chips too. There used to be like SCX slaves and SCX masters. It was just naughty conversation. So security is just can't.
That's a whole nother topic.
Chip fabs. Yeah.
Yeah. So Databricks is now doing SIEM, SIEM, which is some management, some security thing. And the argument is you're closer to your data. You don't have to ingest a bunch of data and pay the money that comes with ingesting that data. So we'll do your security, spin up some agents with you with the help of Anthropic. And needless to say, this freaked out all the SaaS stocks, including the cybersecurity stocks. But this is a trend we're seeing now because Elastic, they're, Elasticsearch doing the data context thing. They're building all that natively into Elastic Security. And the argument here is you don't have to move your data around. You don't have to pay for a bunch of endpoints. And then even ServiceNow in December, they built that company Armis to get into cybersecurity. Their take is more workflow based. But you look at this and you're like, wow, all right. So now all the non-traditional cybersecurity vendors are going to be getting into security, and they're all looking to undercut the CrowdStrikes, the Palo Altos. All those folks are charging you for endpoints, just as everyone's trying to convince you to standardize on these platforms.
Because security is so easy. And talk about the alphabet soup. You have the security information and event management, CM, but then you also have CIAM, customer identity and event management. Then you have IAM. There's lots and lots of different things. And the reality is that for a very, very long time, everyone in the world of security has been kind of holding their breath, because as we have moved from the moat and the big tall wall will save us into no, we have to think left of bang and start to really be proactive in our security postures. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's looking at the big pool of data that we amassed in that big giant moat and are like, what's happening down there? We got to go back and figure that one out. So yeah, it's going to get messy, but now's a good time to do it because all the big security conferences are happening. So that's going to be a fun place to be.
Oh yeah, well, it's RSA this week, and it's absolutely nothing but securing agentic AI stuff. We're all
100%.
Everybody's rolling out stuff to secure agents. And when you look at it, these agents are powered by data. So the argument for these non-traditional players is that we're going to secure the data. We know your data. And by the way, your data is on our platform. So we're going to secure that before it ever gets to an agent in the first place.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. The thing that I'm looking for at RSA this week is, are the graphics going to change? Because for decades, those of us in security have had to suffer through faceless hoodie guy. Have you ever met faceless hoodie guy, Larry? It's the graphic that every security company owns of like the dude, and he's got the hoodie, zero face. He's like in mom's basement. There's some weird green backlight on him, and you know he's in there just like, I'm getting all your data. When we realize that like nation states actually funding a lot of the major cyber attacks, and a lot of these attack surfaces are not in fact faceless hoodie guy down in the basement, then all of a sudden we went into like, oh, we've got to secure the data. And so the shield became digitized. It was zeros and ones. So I'm really curious this year, anyone who's attending on the show floor, hit us up on Twitter, go to Constellation R, Liz K. Miller, go, yours is Dignan, right? That's you on Twitter. Hit us up and let us know. What's the #1 graphic on the show floor this year? Is it still faceless hoodie guy, or did someone make faceless hoodie guy look like a robot, where it's just like a robot with no face, but he's wearing a hoodie? Because I just want to know how we're keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to how we're going to talk about what this threat is when it comes to AI, because data is, but we're also forgetting the fact that the bad players, our bad actors, they've got AI too.
Oh yeah, well we're talking agent versus agent battles right now.
Yes.
That's where we're going to. So the logo, I don't know, I would probably just bastardize Salesforce's little Einstein agent force thing, turn into Darth Vader or something like that.
Ooh.
I don't know. Something
that'd be good.
Yeah, evil agent.
It's got to be dramatic. It's got to be dramatic. Well, listen, the big news on my side of the weird world has been that remember when we were all like, no, the LLMs are just going to give us what they're able to search. All of these large language models, all of these AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, they're all just going to give us what is the authority that's on the web. Well, now we're seeing what I can only assume is going to be called answer engine marketing or generative engine marketing. So it's either going to be GEM or AEM. I don't know what language we're going to come up with it, but we are starting to see the introduction of ads that are going to appear in a whole lot of places, and AI and things like Gemini that are also going to start to appear in a whole lot of places. We've got Apple that's going to start using various forms of AI to allow people to not only kind of explore music, but Apple Music is going to partner with Ticketmaster. They're going to unleash all sorts of AI so that you can discover new music. Because listen, I've been steadfast on my playlist since like 1989. No AI is going to change. You're not. What are you helping me explore? But they're convinced it's going to happen. We also have a ton of folks being able to look at Google TV's new Gemini feature, which was launched this week. You're going to see fans being updated on sports, on their favorite shows, everything that you might want to watch on Google TV. But you're also seeing this resurgence in what's happening and what's powering the back end of all of those tools and solutions. So now that every TV is a connected device, CTV is suddenly surging in popularity as far as brand advertising goes. But we're also seeing that, how do we start to personalize on that? How do we start to create predictive advertising? Amazon advertising, of course, is coming out with their answer to that, with a vast suite of where you can add, how you manage your ad placements, yes, across those Amazon properties, but also pretty much on any place you want to put, any type of publisher that you want to produce your advertising on. Amazon ads can help you do that. They've got AI that's helping you do that on that side. Google TV is now embedding Gemini. So not only are the viewers going to be able to utilize Gemini to find and discover new things, but advertisers are going to be able to use that on the back end as well. So we're definitely about to hit that new era. It hasn't happened quite yet. Sam, of course, on OpenAI has said, yes, we're going to try to put ads in some of those prompt answers.
He is so going to screw that up.
It's
going to take 3 versions. It's going to be a disaster.
Yes. And anything that is answer engine marketing, anything is generative engine marketing, where you're putting ads right in the place of those answers, it's just going to be gnarly before it gets good. But then you and I are also, web years old. We remember how nasty and gnarly digital advertising was, and then programmatic advertising on top of that. None of this went well for at least the first 2 years that everyone was doing it.
Oh, easily, yeah.
I think the interesting thing that's going to happen is these younger generations who are really consuming some of this advertising for the first time on their connected devices. It's really going to be interesting to see how they react to all of this, because that reaction from those younger generations is going to be swift. My daughter thinks ads are another TV show. She's not. Right? She does not understand, it's like mini content, and she will look at me and she's like, that show's boring. And it was an ad. So it's going to really start to become, if you really want to figure out where to put AI, you might want to look at where you're putting your AI in all of that content creation, because it's going to have to be storytelling in advertising like we have not seen, because these consumers, very, very different tastes. Okay.
There's also the direct response thing, because I was watching that jury duty corporate retreat show on Amazon Prime. Shameless plug, but it kind of triggered me a little bit because I actually lived through some of those corporate retreats. But they had the ads where you scan the QR code, you submit and I'm actually looking at them and thinking, all right, so if I submitted an email to Progressive, what is Progressive paying? Right? Because it's basically a lead.
It 100% is. But there are other things that are blowing marketers' minds right now, including the fact that Fancy Valpak, print advertising, print direct, and print branding is back. Who knew? It was supposed to be dead, right? It was supposed to be dead, right along with radio, right along with outdoor. The fact that outdoor is also surging, there is no accounting for taste, but that's what all of these signals and that the data that we were just talking about that we're all trying to secure, that's what's at the heart of all of this. Because really, for the first time in multiple generations of advertisers, we're now really able to segment to a block what type of ad we want to put up on that billboard. And we're actually seeing higher returns because we're putting the right ad in the right space for the right audience. And it is actually working. We're finally getting smarter at all of this advertising stuff. And it's great until it's not.
Right.
And I think that's the big challenge. And that's where I'd love to see more marketers focus on their advertising and on that branding of, let's focus our AI and figuring out and unlocking that what's not. Okay, pretty soon our producer Hannah is going to come over here with the hook, because she's going to be like, no, you two, we're done. But here's what we are going to do.
I have 3 more news things I could do.
No. Go read Larry's notebook. He keeps updating all this stuff live. You can see all that stuff over there. But here's what we're going to do. Larry and I are going to be back in just a minute, because we're going to talk about 2 events that Constellation hosted last week and some big takeaways from that. But we did not want this episode to go down without hearing what was happening in the news from none other than my co-host, Holger Mueller. He is on the road. He is being spicy. I think he's in San Diego or Singapore. I can't figure it out, but he's going to be coming up with some more of his news.
Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, coming to you not from the usual setting with Liz, my fabulous co-host, who I cannot high five this way or this way, because we both are traveling in an airport, so we're trying something new with separate keys. I'm of course going to look at what's next close and near to my heart, which is what's happening in next generation applications and future work. Now, the big thing last week was, of course, Nvidia's GTC conference, the Woodstock of AI, where everybody comes together. Not only Nvidia, but also the companies adjacent. If you haven't done it yet, check out my top 10 countdown. We will have to figure out how good that countdown was, which I have to do another video. But transforming downtown San Jose, which is always beautiful, in the light lime green. I don't know what the official Nvidia green is. And there was significantly more presence than last year, more attendees, but also more exhibitors spending time there. The Neo clouds, or I call them the iClouds, making a strong entrance with separate locations, separate pieces, food trucks. The cars were cycling with full banners of the full clouds and the other Neo clouds. So takeaways are Nvidia really fully pivoted to inference. That's what Jensen Huang said last year. It was all about inference. The new machine, the Vera Rubin machine, is all optimized for inference. It's no longer just a GPU machine. It has significant innovation out of a Groq acquisition, which is the LPU, the language parsing unit, which helps especially for inference. GPUs are not the most efficient at inference, but the LPU stuffs the prefill of the data, which allows you earlier first token data pipe from. Sorry for getting very technically, but that's basically response time. And in today's view of inference, it means running agents. So response time is very important for humans to keep dealing and working with those agents. Interesting enough, CPUs, right? CPUs. Nvidia makes CPUs. Yes, the Vera CPUs. There's a whole cluster of them, high performing, adjacent to the Vera Rubin machine, which does what agents need to do, run the things that agents do, running SQL, running other things which run much, much better on CPUs. And then there's the whole storage array capability, Swiss out of the Bluefield capability. So it's a very complex machine, which is supposed to come out. Satya Nadella actually has said Azure has one already in a tweet before Nvidia GTC, but now it has to be produced, which will be interesting to see. Also, Jensen Huang said they will do 1 trillion of pure AI inference and training sale, which is a massive, massive number. Never seen that being announced at a conference. So that's a key takeaway. And basically, Vera Rubin becomes the AI factory building blocks, right? You will take multiple Vera Rubins together to build it. It's all set up, like I said before. The key thing, of course, bringing it together is NVLink, the DNA out of the Mellanox area, the super fast networking across all those. The interesting thing overall then is that NVIDIA pivoted kind of like to software. Software in the sense, of course, from an NVIDIA perspective, is not enterprise software. It's also always open source software, because guess what? It's all about how much money can you get out of those budgets, and that will be super relevant, because you don't want to spend money on software, you want to spend money on the hardware, and this is why software is always free. But lots of vertical LLM models have been released, pretty much over 20, which are available for free for customers to jumpstart their efforts, from healthcare to robotics to simulation to synthetic data to financial planning. I don't know even how many are there, right? So also interesting to work on help AI startups on the frontier model side. It might not come from the big guys, the Nemotron Alliance. This basically is a who is who of all the AI startups working in there. Check out those. Will be an interesting counterweight to the other large LLM vendors. Also interesting, like last year it was the quantum vendors who had a panel in the San Jose Theater Hall, concert venue, very beautiful venue right downtown on Jose Chavez. Well, and also going to be Chavez Square anymore with what's going on, but anyway, a great location. Last year it was the quantum CEOs. This year it was pretty much every AI startup CEO who was in a 5 people plus Jensen panel. How much you can get out of that was not. It was some lively conversation. If you haven't seen it, check it out. So that's Nemotron. And then, of course, big push actually on OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw, thanks to the acquisition, which escapes my name right now, NVIDIA can sanitize the data that NemoClaw gets, which is, of course, the important thing that OpenClaw gets with the help of NemoClaw. NemoClaw's addition is to filter the data, which is, of course, the key concern of getting OpenClaw in the enterprise. Lots of enthusiasm about OpenClaw, as you can imagine. We will see how that will be going down the road. Also, quantum news. NVQ-Link, not NV-Link, but NVQ-Link, Q obviously for quantum, has a capability of connecting quantum machines with each other with fast networking from GPUs, which will do some pre-processing other parts before. Jensen Huang said he wants every supercomputing center to at least trial out different technologies, because different technology, quantum, to try out if quantum is real, where quantum is going. And then I mentioned this already, strong presence of all the neo clouds, renting out restaurants and places and having the trucks running around. So they're getting substantial business and some significant wins, like Mebius, as an example, to call one out, had a significant win with Meta, which will do 20, don't quote me right or wrong, 20 plus something billion on the platform, which is an interesting and good win. Talking about Meta, right? Meta bought Moltbook, kind of like acknowledging that the Nemo Cloud capabilities are something, and Moltbook should be a way potentially for Meta to make it into the enterprise. UiPath reported earnings. They were more like, not so happy from that perspective. Axiom got some funding. Then this week you should be looking out for significant news coming from Oracle. They have their event in in London, which is always the counterpart to AI World, half a year apart, where you see significant news, both how to build agents and applications, and how agents are being built or being used, how the database is using AI. So very interesting. Don't miss the announcements coming from Oracle this week. And then last but not least, right, the big news over the weekend is who else than Elon Musk's Terafab, right? No, never shy of any challenge. Elon is looking into building his own fab. Of course, the Terafab, of course, it will be 2 nanometers, the latest, greatest, which is there. Only TSMC has one like this, with the purpose of building his own chips. Interesting, most of them should go into space. Musk thinks that there's not enough energy on this planet. It has to go to space to be able to use solar power for them. Well, he has a company which might help getting the satellites up there. He has a company which might help getting the data up there, because I mean, AI is of course a big data problem. If AI should be trained, inference or training happening in the cloud, we'll see that. Interesting also, Jensen Huang showed one of those preview big AI data centers in space, right, which had massive, I think it was 2.2 kilometer solar panels, right? Anybody who has heard about space TV would get a little nervous hearing about this, but hey, Musk being Musk thinks 80% of the chips he will produce at his fab will go into space. But of course, he has massive other needs for that on the car side with Tesla, on the robotic side, the robotic startup right now escapes me. So it's an interesting vertical strategy move by Elon Musk, and nobody else probably will try to pull this off. But it will be interesting to see what the friends or co-competitors at Amazon, Seattle, the other guys at Seattle, Microsoft, or what Google might be thinking about. The energy crunch is a real problem, right? And there's plenty of solar energy available in space. Thanks for watching.
Okay, we're back. Thanks to Holger for filling us in on what's happening in his world. We want to fill you in on 2 events, and I actually want to get Larry's perspective, because Larry, you were at both of Constellation's big events that we had 2 weeks ago at this point, or last week, a week ago.
Last week.
I do not understand time for how much I spend in airplanes. Apparently, I'm a time traveler. But we had Constellation's Future Forum, which was a super secret event. It wasn't even on our website. The only way you were going to know about this event was if you were literally selected to attend the event. And it was a very, very, I will say, specialized group of leaders, really CEOs and executive board members, who were all getting together to talk about what was that future state, what is that future state of business. Larry, what were some of the big themes you got out of it?
Perhaps the biggest theme was AI is the CEO's job. And if the CEO does not get AI right, they're toast. And kind of heard that repeatedly, because we had board members there and CEOs. So we had the people who basically go, yo, what is this AI strategy and I need it yesterday, versus the CEOs who were like, okay, and they're trying to focus on process and returns and all that. And as a result, everybody's just trying to avoid running into, some kind of AI strategy that boxes you in. The other thing they talked about was a lot of culture. I mean, this is a lot of change management. So you got to tackle, sacred cows and basically rip everything up and rethink it. So it's a challenging time for CEOs. The ones that navigate it well will be rock stars. There's a massive knowledge gap between boards and CEOs and AI people in general, right? So you're playing a game of telephone, right? And that's challenging. So it's a case of bringing, the board members along with the CEOs and the tech leadership, because the tech leadership is the business leadership. And, so a lot of people were looking for the AI transformation and automation. And it wasn't necessarily about, like Ray always talks about, we're moving a lot faster to stay in place. That feeling was, you could feel it in the air.
You could feel it. I'm just gonna say it. I guess I'm gonna say the dirty thing out loud here. When I hear the phrase and when I hear the conversation of AI is the CEO's job, it makes me think, oh God, we've been here before, right? Because Customer experience was supposed to be the CEO's job. And remember, 10, 15 years ago, it was always like, listen, if you're not here for digital transformation, if you're not here to deliver these highly personalized, data-driven, smart, connected customer experiences, and if you don't build a culture around experience, then what are you doing as a CEO? That's the CEO's. Like, no one owns it. It's the CEO's job. And any one of us who have had to work in the CX salt mines, we all know that did not happen. It happened to a rarefied few. And I think for the organizations that took exactly what you just said, right? The CEO took ownership of that enterprise-wide team sport known as customer experience. They reshaped the organization and didn't have these weird functional silos all playing don't touch my button over the data and who owns the customer and who owns the sale. And we didn't have the ownership battle of something that we can't own, namely the customer. And, we restructured around experience. It feels like those organizations with that type of CEO and that type of culture, they might be ready to embrace this idea that the CEO's job is AI. But the CEO that's still sitting there pitting the sales team and the service team and the marketing team against each other with their compensation happening at all different times and everyone having to carry their own bag and everyone being compensated, quite frankly, for basically dunking on one of the other teams. I don't know if they're ready, Larry.
They're not. That's why this is going to be a fun train wreck to watch. I mean, we are watching a NASCAR race, right? You're in it for the car crashes. And I really think some CEOs will get it. So there's sort of this line they're trying to walk, right? But the prevailing theme is if you don't get AI right, the CEO is on the hook.
Yeah.
And it's just like a sports team. It's just like a company. If you don't get experience right, it's this wrestling match where, okay, maybe the CEO doesn't get whacked this time because he's too busy whacking the CX person or the CMO or whoever will get the blame. But eventually that runs out. And, N word at a time, the other part, all these CEOs were wrestling with, as well as the boards, the pace of change. Like, how do you actually bet on any, let's say, 4 months ago, you decided to standardize on OpenAI. And now Anthropic's totally closed that gap and surpassed it. And Anthropic's the glory child. And you're like, well, damn, I'm 4 months. You know what I mean? So there's this
am I running all of it?
Right. There's this pressure to not only move fast, but don't box yourself into a corner. And
I will say that was also a really loud theme at the second event of the week last week, which was Constellation's AI Forum, where a lot of those it was like a lot of those themes were there, but I felt like it was more of the functional people in that room, the people who are being tasked. Like, yes, the CEO's like, this has got to be my job. I've got to figure this out. At some point in between those events, the CEO just looked at everybody at AI Forum and was like, go figure it out. Like, you guys are the ones that are going to go do it. And so I think we heard a lot about what are some of the forces and factors that could possibly derail our best intentions when it comes to AI. And I think we kept hearing kind of over and over again, the security thing certainly came up a couple times, questioning what nation state actors were going to do. Did we need to make a call? On all of this, I think we were very, very kind of North America model centric in our conversations at AI Forum, where there was a lot of talk about OpenAI. There was a lot of talk about Anthropic, but there wasn't a whole lot of talk about kind of some of the other models that are coming in from other regions, which I thought was really interesting. And I'm wondering if that was also because a big theme that we were hearing a lot from one of our co-hosts, Mark Minovich, was the issue around, okay, is China and their ability to not only deal with data, replicate synthetic data, come up with new models, have models release in almost no time flat. India, very similarly. But with China, they can provide power on pennies on the dollar, so is our AI problem here in the States and in Europe a power problem, You know, whereas in China, it might be a sovereignty problem. I think there were different issues we were talking about at AI Forum.
Yeah, and the common theme between the Futures Forum and AI Forum is you don't want to, these executives, no matter what level you're at, you don't want to talk geopolitics. It's out of your control. You have no idea what's going to happen, but it seems to find you from a business perspective, right?
Yes.
So this is one of those things where, you know, not only is the pace of change, you know, exponential on the AI side, on the technical side, it's also that way for business. Like, it's hard to plan. And yet everyone wants to be making these vast changes, because one of the things at AI Forum that was a big topic of conversation was OpenClaw and all the various claws, right?
Everybody gets a claw. It was like Oprah throwing claws all around the room.
Right. And Nvidia came out with their Nemo claw, which is, you know, Nvidia's kind of the open source model champion in the US right now. And there was all this talk, and I remember I was walking past the stage, and I'm like, oh man, I got to try this. And one of the CIOs was like, yeah, don't. They're like, it's a disaster, right?
It's
like,
okay. Yeah.
Do not hook this stuff up to a machine with any of your personal data on it. You got to go out and buy a cheap laptop, a Mac Mini, whatever.
Mac Mini, yep.
And just hook it up and see what it does. So I'm looking at this and I'm sort of like, yeah, I see your point. But this is what enterprises are wrestling with, right? On the one part, because they're going to get an OpenClaw question in about a day.
And someone is in the organization doing it. Like, there is going to be someone in your org. There's going to be someone who really fancies themselves the innovator that is doing this. And all of a sudden we're going to have, you know, book religions created by AI agents for AI agents battling it out with your whatever claw. And it's going to be crazy. Listen, we could talk about this all day, but for anyone who missed certainly AI Forum, as well as some of the things that happen at Constellation's Future Forum, I really recommend you go over and check out Larry's notebook. Also check out the insight section on Constellation's website. We're going to have lots of updates and lots of summaries that are coming out about that. But most importantly, Larry, thanks for being such a great sport and coming and joining me on the Dirty Clown Car half of Constellation TV. In 2 weeks, folks, you're going to see a live drop actually from this guy, from Larry Dignan, and his partner in crime, Martin Schneider. They are going to be talking the news. They are probably going to be talking about AI, and who knows, maybe there's going to be a Molt Claw by then. We don't know, but we're sure going to keep you updated. Check us out on constellationr.com. Follow us on the socials, and until next time, I'll be back with Holger. See you later, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so what are we talking about?
Awesome. Okay, fix your face. We're going to get started. We're talking about the news, damn it.
Larry, do you know that Liz and Holger usually like Google what they're talking about during this call?
What the fuck are you doing right now? Yes! Hang on just a second. TechCrunch.com. Hey, Larry, you want to know what's happening in technology?
Sure. Let me guess. Anthropic did something that freaked everybody out and all the SaaS stocks plunged.
There's something called AI. Ding. Like, I don't know. Is that how we're doing it?
That looked like more AO, just saying.
Yeah, but like, it's like AI. I don't know how to scrunch to make the little dot. I ding, like my bun. And you can use it to do stuff. Oh, look at that. And we are in the right spot. Holger and I have a real issue when we film this. When we're swapped and I'm on the other side, it feels very unnatural and it weirds us out. And so we sit here acting like whiny baby toddlers until Hannah fixes our screens. Because if I try to do it, I will fuck it up. I am always on this side because this. Okay.
You and Holger are like an old couple that just sleeps on the same side of the bed repeatedly.
Pretty much. We are those cousins that only see each other at Thanksgiving and will still fight as if we see each other every day.
Oh, you know, speaking of cousins and weird fun fact department, I read in the Wall Street Journal today that Jensen Huang and Lisa Su from AMD are first cousins.
See, this is where you're going to get an intro to Asian families, because those two first cousins have been at a dinner before where their passive-aggressive parents have had conversations that go a little something like, you know, my Jensen just had a big company with big video game chips. AI wouldn't happen without my Jensen. And then she's going to sit there and wait until Lisa's mom says something. And she's going to be like, well, you know, and they are just going to volley passive aggressive. My smart kid is smarter and better and richer and did more. And then they're going to be like, we helped humanity. And then they're going to fight over the check. If it was my family, my aunts and my mom would be holding on to the check, so like the little tray, until someone fell over. I think it would be great. An animation, like a little cartoon of the two Asian families fighting over whose exceedingly smart, well-educated child is doing better in technology. And then someone's going to walk in and be like, oh, but you know, your cousin Charles is a doctor. It's going to be like,
oh yeah, because you can't compete with that.
Oh, I'm sorry, mister. I'm the CEO of Nvidia. I'm so sorry. Who's a doctor? Who's a heart surgeon? Oh, I don't think so. Done. Dunzo. Jensen gets to pay the bill. What episode is this? Holy shit. Hang on. It's 126. Anna, I got it. You don't have to put it in the chat. Oh, episode 126. She already put it in there. All right. Fixing my face. Here we go. The next time Holger isn't available, I am just going to do the whole episode with like two puppets and be like, gosh, Liz, what's happened on enterprise technology today? I don't know, Holger. What do you think happened today? It's going to be epic. I dare say.
On that note, I'm going to end the recording.
Yep. Bye, viewers. See you later.